Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. And today I've got a good one for you. This is iAllegedly. And we are in San Juan Capistrano, which is a very cool city. It's got the Mission down here. It's got the historic Los Rios district. You can take the train down here. We're standing right by the train tracks. But there's also a lot of shopping, a lot of cool things to see. But I want to cover something, and that is that people are convinced that it's so bad right now, and they don't have a lot of faith in the government right now, that they don't think that Social Security is going to be here for people. And millennials, when you ask them about retirement, they're like, what? What's that? Well, as a person that's closer to that age than most people, I think that people should be concerned about that, because retirement and Social Security may not be there for everybody. And we're going to cover a lot of local news, a lot of national news, a lot of cool stuff that's going on in the economy that is just nonstop. So before I get into it, please take a second, hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, and share this with all your friends, colleagues, and everybody that you know. But again, it's a very cool area down here. The train's coming. Couldn't have timed that better. But this is an old train station where literally the train pulls up and you can stand here and walk and watch the train. So just be a minute or so for the train. But they surveyed millennials, and they said, what do you think the possibility that you're going to get Social Security when you hit retirement age? And they keep pushing the goalpost down, make it further and further and further. And 73% said that they do not anticipate. So the Metrolink comes down here. The Metrolink comes down here and stops, but they surveyed the millennials, and 73% said that they did not believe that they were going to get Social Security of any kind. So what does that mean? Well, if it's not there, a lot of people don't realize that there's really nothing else for them, because if you haven't saved, you don't have IRAs, you don't have different retirement plans set up through work and things like that. Look at all these cool places to shop at, these cool little tiny coffee houses and all these little businesses. Check out this guy. This guy's law firm is right here. It's kind of cool. But again, the big problem with Social Security is it's not enough. It's not enough money for people to live on. Most people get it and can't survive on it. So that being said, what are people going to do to get by during that time, when they don't have regular work? So people are starting to experience that now. You've got the market with all the shops. You've got live music down here. It's very cool. But again, three things that people need to think about with Social Security. It's not enough money to live on. You've got to worry about health care, okay, which is most people's biggest expense that they just don't think about when they get older. And what will you do additionally to pay bills? So anyways, again, not trying to bore everybody with Social Security and talk about things that don't matter, but people need to be aware of that. All these different places to walk, very historic. Wall Street's on fire. Everybody knows it. Everybody sees it every day. The worse the news is out there, the better the stock market does. For the first time in over 2 decades, you have the most bullish sentiment about the S&P 500 and stocks in general that you've had in, and again, 2 decades. So that being said, people are trying to tell you that there are over 56% of the stocks in the S&P's 500 are marked as buy opportunities. And again, who says this right now, guys? If you think that you read a story one day where Citibank says there's going to be a huge pullback, and you say things like 20%, and if you read the comments in the video below, people are saying 40, 60%, just crazy, crazy figures. How do you sit there and get excited about this stuff? How do you sit there and just say it's going to keep going up? And again, you can get into cryptos, you can get into other investments, gold, silver, whatever, the lira, I don't care. But to sit there and think that everything's just going to continue to skyrocket is absolute lunacy. And these experts, the stories from Yahoo Finance, talking about how everything's just going to continue to go up. It's crazy, guys. So share your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about this stuff. Check out these little tiny houses. It's very cool. You know, again, we'll go through the bigger part of town in just a second. But these little houses were built, and this was declared a historic district in 1983. Somebody I know was in high school back then when they did this. So it protected all these houses, protected this area. You just can't have some developer come in and shred these little tiny shacks and turn them into condos right in the train tracks. As much as that would probably, you know, make money and do well, it's maintaining the history of this old area. But again, what do you guys think, guys? Do you feel compelled to buy stocks right now? I can't help but notice things like the Rubies behind me on the second floor. That was open for what, 20 years? It was closed. You've got vacancies here. This retail. I mean, this thing clearly could be a restaurant, clearly could be something. But very, very cool place. Very, very cool city. But then you go, and as you're walking, you can't help but notice places like this across the street. The FKN bread is now available. Now, here's the cool thing. This is the Mission San Juan Capistrano that's right here. You guys can see that behind me. Very, very cool. Many school field trips were spent going to the Mission. Just really historic, really cool. But that being said, the next story is about banking again. And banking has been a real problem, and people keep sending me all these stories as I do these banking videos. And one of them was TD Ameritrade, the brokerage house, is getting sued for over $300,000. And again, I think it should be more than that. But what happened was they had one of their clients was the victim of an elaborate scam. Now what happened was a company had a TD Ameritrade account, More Capital Holdings out of Pennsylvania. And what they did was they invested in real estate. And they had an employee, they said set up a separate account. And this person goes online, sets up an account, clicks on it, and come to find out it was not a TD Ameritrade account. It was one letter off. And they had spoofed this person into uploading 180 grand. And the company then reports it to TD Ameritrade, and the company, More Capital, was stupid enough to do it again and lost another $100,000. So basically totaling about $275,000. They're suing TD Ameritrade for $300,000. Now, again, why is it that this one guy goes out and somebody reaches out to this guy and says, hey, please transfer money to this account, and Bank of America just willy-nilly gives the guy his money back, but More Capital can't get their money back from TD Ameritrade? And again, a criminal set up this separate website, and they clicked on what they thought was the TD Ameritrade website. So again, guys, if you have any questions with these banks, you're not sure, just doesn't seem right, ask questions, okay? So, you know, that's all you can do, okay? I mean, seriously, I'm shocked at this, but they have to take this thing to the litigation festival to get their money back. And again, share your thoughts. Are they stupid? Are they wrong? Is it unfair? Let me know in the comments below. Now, this next story is a good one because it's about one of our favorite topics here, Tesla. And there is a man who is, I love stories like this where they have to give you this guy's CV and tell you what a smart guy is. He's a scientist, scholar, professor, okay, ninja assassin. I mean, the guy's just great, and he's a brilliant human being, but this guy could not pass his driving test. He relocated to the United States and had to get a U.S. driver's license to drive here in the United States. And this guy couldn't get one because he had the car took the Model 3 to the DMV, and he kept failing. Now listen to this. He took the Model 3 test, took it to the driving test, and had it on chill mode. Huh? Okay. So it was on chill mode, and they said that it was helping him drive, which is an automatic failure. Then he had it. He was supposed to have it on comfort mode. And again, what are you guys talking about? How about you turn off the autopilot? One of the the proctors for the test said she could feel the car auto brake at times. So that's an automatic failure. The car is not driving. You're not in control of the car. The car is being manipulated, and the computer is driving the car. So again, guys, the guy had to, woe is me, he had to go rent a Prius for $100 to pass his driving test. And again, turn off the autopilot, guys. Turn off the Elon Musk gonna drive for you feature. It's ridiculous, okay? And again, guys, you gotta read the article. It's below, but the guy's brilliant. He's the smartest guy on the planet Earth, but he couldn't pass the driving test. He didn't have enough sense to turn that off. Share your thoughts. If you own a Tesla and it's the greatest car ever, please, I really want to know what you think of this. And was this guy wrong? What did he have to turn off? What did he have to turn on? Share your thoughts, guys. Really want to know. There's a great article from Market Watch talking about the economy and what's going to happen with the rent moratorium once it gets lifted to all these different people. And the sentiment is that it's going to be much more difficult to rent a place after all this is said and done. Now, here's the truth. You cannot get factual numbers on the number of people that are behind on rent. I've heard 8 million. This article says it's 7.4 million. It's much higher than that. But if you read the articles in the video, you will see that it's really affecting people. We also have a special guest today. The Pope has stopped by, and I wanted to talk to him about some things I'd done inappropriately with my girlfriend. He said he would talk about that later, but do you have anything to say about rental assistance or anything like that? Anyways, I'll ask the Pope later about that. Anyways, guys, I've talked to a lot of landlords, and it's been like the landlord festival over the course of the last few days, where these people have written me and called me, and one subscriber, David, wrote me about how his son is going to have to file bankruptcy because people are not paying rent and they've lost everything. Now, think about how horrific that is. Again, if this guy owned a record shop and people weren't paying him, it would be just as tragic as this guy being a landlord. And, I get people, oh, landlords are terrible, let them eat cake, karma's coming. Okay, guys, but what's going to happen is, talk to other landlords who have said, I'm going to make it so impossible for these people to stiff me in the future that they're never going to be able to rent. The rents are going to be so high, we're going to put them through such a financial test that it's going to determine their financial viability, and I'm going to turn people away left and right. One guy said, I would rather leave the place vacant for 3 months to get the right tenant than to chase somebody out for 2 years. So that being said, guys, if you think that this is just going to continue and you're going to see people not paying rent and this thing keep getting kicked down the road, it's going to be a real problem. I also had somebody else write me and said they would rather have state money. They'd rather deal with the government, get paid about 15 to 18% less than the rent, but get a check deposited, auto-deposited every month into their account over waiting or hoping that these, quote, degenerates are going to pay me. So that being said, share your thoughts. And what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is going to be, it's going to be back to normal in October? I think not. I think it's going to be nothing but a complete and utter catastrophe that's going to linger on and on and on and on and on. After my brief conversation with the Pope, he insisted that I go to the mission. So you guys get to see the San Juan Capistrano mission today. Dun, dun, dun. Beautiful place. The cool thing about growing up here in Orange County is I got to go here a lot as a kid. Back in the day when you would have field trips, they'd load up a school bus and you got to spend a Friday doing cool things like come to the mission. This is where the swallows come back every March, and you get to feed the swallows, and they have a big swallows festival, but it's like the 21st, I think is the date, or the 19th or 20th. Someone will correct me. But just a lot of heritage, a lot of cool things with this. Now, inflation. Inflation is sky high on things, and I found a great article out of Fox Business that talked about how gas was up 41.8%, used cars 41.3%, food's up a ton, airline tickets are up over 21%, everything, rental cars, everything is up right now. And this is something that affects each and every one of us, And it's a huge problem. But again, the word transitory has nothing to do with it, because the Heinz CEO, Heinz is the company that basically makes every sauce you put on your burger. And I think every time you use ketchup, you owe them a nickel, okay? That being said, the Heinz CEO said it is such a major problem with inflation and manufacturing right now and making everything that they cannot keep up with the cost. They cannot raise prices fast enough. Now, again, whether you like Heinz, you hate Heinz, you don't care about Heinz, this is a real problem, because the supply chains, when we talk about fast food places and different things like that, you want them to get product. You want them to be able to manufacture, make things, and ship them to market. You want every industry to do that. And it's a real problem with that. Look at this building, guys. Think about this. This was built in the 1800s. And I mean, this is just very cool. But it's also built by hand, guys. There were no cranes back then. Very cool, man. Just very, very cool. I liked coming here because we used to get to feed the birds. And one thing that we used to do to torture kids, and sorry, Joel, I'd give out your last name, but I don't want to do that. We used to put, bird feed on their head, and the birds would eat it off their head. It's fun for the first time, but then when 20 kids do it to you, it's not fun. So anyways, it was great. Had it done to me once. Kind of traumatized. Anyways, check this out, guys. Isn't that cool? Now, the cool thing is, there is real problems here in California with building, where they're trying to limit timber structures and how tall they can be. Well, first things first, I think that everything in California should be built with earthquake codes in mind, but this is going to make it so expensive to do multi-story projects or larger scale projects, shopping centers and things like that that use lumber and timber. It's going to make it incredibly expensive. So that being said, California is not a friendly state when it comes to business. They don't care if you're in business. They just want to tax you, and hopefully, the strong survive through that. But again, you're going to see more and more people flee with things like this. When I went to Texas and stayed at Aaron's compound, there was some serious advantage to, being on almost 19 acres or 18 or whatever he had, and just the freedom to where, JB and Aaron were, having, shootout at the OK Corral, and I was hanging out fishing, making videos, and very, very cool, but a lot of privacy. There's something to be said about having that much space and not having everybody on top of you. I guarantee you, within 2 miles of where I'm standing around this beautiful historic building, there are condos that are 5 stories tall that they cannot sell, they cannot rent out, and they are just absolutely disgusting. But that being said, that is the future of construction right now here in this state. Again, and they're going to be sky high as well, too. So share your thoughts, guys. Think inflation is out of control? Think it's getting better? What do you think about the Heinz CEO? It's a great article. Share it. Talk about it. Let me know your thoughts, guys. It's very cool. I've been here many, many times. And again, I really appreciate this place much more today than I have in the past. I mean, you just see this construction and how they built things. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. It really is. They did all this by hand back then. And I'm going to lead this into my next 2 stories. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? It's just unbelievable when you think about the history that's here. Wendy's, the fast food chain, has just announced that they're going to build 700 kitchens that will be for delivery only. No more full builds. They're going to build simple kitchens that can take delivery only orders. Now, that's the future, guys, of fast food. I really think that, the big build, the big franchise fees, paying the construction costs, the big rents, I think that's done, guys. I really, really do. And I think that you're going to see less and less of that. So share your thoughts on it. Maybe it'll make the Wendy's food taste better. Ever since Dave Thomas died, I mean, the food hasn't been the same, So that's just my opinion. But share your thoughts. And I stopped eating that when I found out how the chili was made. So you can go on for an hour about that. The next thing is IHOP. IHOP is doing something that I think is complete desperation. And IHOP is now going to have booze at certain IHOP stores. So the booze hounds rejoice. You can continue to drink at midnight and get, you know, a Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity, okay? So I hate IHOP, okay? My kid, when he was young, he was one of those sweet tooth kids that would love IHOP because they had a cinnamon roll pancakes that had cinnamon roll goo all over it, and it was disgusting. And it was probably, you know, 4,500 calories or something. And you know, my Father of the Year award probably was taken away several times because I let him eat that. But that being said, the booze hounds want to have, you know, alcohol at IHOP. I mean, come on, what are we getting to? You know, when I walked in here, the group in front of me, the woman said, "Is there a winery? Do you have wine here?" I'm thinking, lady, it's late morning and you're concerned about wine. This is probably the type of person that would have said, "Oh, don't worry, I brought my own." Okay, so needless to say, I'll look for her and see if she's slugging out of the bag. But guys, I don't get where you can't go places and not have a drink for, you know, an hour. Anyways, we could talk social programs forever on this channel. But what do you guys think? What do you think of Wendy's? What do you think of IHOP? I think it's a sign of the times for both of them. Desperation for IHOP and Wendy's. They're trying to make an economic decision because franchisees are not plunking down $3 and $4 million to own a franchise anymore. This leads to the final two stories, which first things first, Nikola Motors. Trevor Milton, the CEO, was just indicted and charged criminally with lying about what the story says is basically every aspect of the company. Okay, so that being said, the Department of Energy just gave this swindling fool a $2 million grant. You cannot make this stuff up. Nikola Motors just got funded a $2 million grant this week. Hello, okay, is there no accountability? You got federal prisoners getting PPP loans. You have businesses. Read the comments where people lost their business because they couldn't get a $45,000 loan. And this degenerate fleeced us again for another $2 million while he's awaiting trial for lying about, like they said, everything in the company. And then there's Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman, who runs Pershing Square. Mr. Ackman, he's the one that went on CNBC March of last year and basically bet against the economy and the stock market and made $1 billion by saying that everything was going to crash and put panic in the market. Well, Bill Ackman has a SPAC company, a special purpose acquisition company to buy things. The company did not work out initially. People lost millions and millions of dollars on call options. There's one man out of Illinois who bet everything he had, bet $1 million on call options, that the stock price was going to hit $25, and it did not. And this guy lost everything. So that being said, I want to do something. I had somebody write me and put a comment in the last video that said that the stock market is going to crash on September 6th and 7th is going to be Armageddon. That's the day that it's going to crash. Now, why do you think that? That's the first thing I asked the person. Second thing I asked the person is, I want specifics. Let's do this on the channel. Tell me when you think the stock market's going to crash, guys. Let's pick a date. Let's keep a spreadsheet. When do you think the magical day is going to be? And just don't pick 2060. Pick the date. Here's the date. Here's the reason why. Okay? Share this with all your friends and colleagues. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. This place was absolutely beautiful to walk through today. Nice to get down to South Orange County. I just drove. I didn't take the train. Join the email list if you'd like to get more access to me. Join the Patreon list. And I will see you guys soon. Onward and upward, guys. Everything's good.